Hi everyone, welcome. I hope you are all well on this lovely Saturday afternoon. Welcome for any of those joining us on this live Q&A on mental health and well-being. Joining me today will be the very gifted trauma therapist, Sandra Stein. So let me bring her on right now. Just waiting for Sandra to join us. Hello,
Sonia.
Sandra. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. What made you do this today?
Um, so I see several clients per week, being couples and one-to-one, and sometimes I facilitate addiction groups and body dysmorphia and
Mhm.
eating disorder groups. So I'm in contact with a lot of people, helping them as much as I can. However, I am aware that therapy is still widely inaccessible. And my hope is that I bring here, as much as I can, um, clinical research techniques and some of my data that I collect from my own clients to help people to improve their self-regulation emotionally and mentally speaking, and to have a chance of living a life that's it's freer and more in self-control and more in peace. So I am trying to do that through all my social medias, my social media platforms, as well as participating in amazing projects like yours. Your podcast was an amazing opportunity, and well done on you
Thank you
for
so much.
for opening up this way and this venue for people to explore their own ways of behaving, the past and patterns. So so that's my hope, is to bring therapy to people's lives.
Well, we all need a bit of support, don't we? There's so much
Yeah.
out there now at the moment. We're all struggling a bit, aren't we? So I've had some questions come in, if you wouldn't mind answering.
Sure.
We've got a couple of questions. Can I start with number one, which is, how can I tell the difference between everyday stress and anxiety that requires professional help?
Wow, that's a really good one. Because I'm aware that even though mental health awareness it's very much around us, is part of our daily lives, I can see that people can rush into self-diagnosis, and that sometimes is not helpful, because you could be dealing with something that's much easier and much more manageable
Mhm.
than anxiety disorder, for example.
Right.
Thinking about my own experience with my experiences as a therapist treating people with stress and anxiety, I think the main difference is that is stress. When you experience stress, you still have a sense of self agency,
Right.
and a sense that so some sort of clarity in the thoughts and behavior. So you stressed, but you can think about solutions and how can I get out of this situation? How can I deal with this?
Yeah.
When you suffer from anxiety, you are absolutely kidnapped by lots of feelings that you're not sure what they are, lots of thoughts, and you freeze. And so I think the normal reaction when you're having one of the normal reactions of having an anxiety attack is that you can't do anything about it. You just freeze. You don't know Some of my clients, for example, we work so much in techniques, in grounding, self-regulating, and they come to me and say, Sandra, when I am on the red zone, I can remember them. I can remember them. They're out of the window.
Hmm.
I'm so absorbed by these overwhelming feelings
Yeah.
that I don't know. So I hope I was clear. I hope
Mm.
that was, yeah. I think that's the main difference.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay. Well, number two we've got here is how does social media impact our mental health? And what would you say is a healthy balance? That's quite timely, isn't it, for today?
Yeah. Yes, it's a massive subject and it's coming up over and over again on my
Mm.
cases. And I will try to be concise. Social media, scrolling through social media,
Yeah.
scrolling on the phone, um, it's been compared to addiction in some cases,
Hmm.
right? So there is an element of self disconnection and environment disconnection
Right.
when you are on your screen,
Hmm.
right? And the biggest danger of that is that I think there is a resistance already for us to go in and get to know ourselves better and get to be with our feelings and then grow resilient and grow
Yeah.
tolerant to our feelings nowadays. When you engage in activities such as scrolling
Hmm.
non-stop, you are avoiding even more this self-knowing, self-knowledge,
Yeah. It's
right?
that
So
connection, isn't it? Hmm. Yeah.
disconnecting. And also, I'm glad you said that word because there is research talking about how our teenagers and young adults are losing these soft skills in being with other people in person
Right.
because you're so used to texting and social media that you lose this the confidence, the articulation to be face to face, to engage in a conversation and to nurture a connection.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like your social skills, isn't it? Social emotional skills. Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah. And I think so that is the disconnection. And another thing that I think social media is doing a lot is really impact on people's self-esteem, which then
Ah.
in itself it's got a domino effect. So when people go on social media and let's say they are not feeling, for example, um, they're not feeling really good about themselves, they're
Yeah.
not really happy about their career, they feel a bit stuck. And then to disconnect from these feelings, they go on social media and then they see lives that people portray to be absolutely perfect, wonderful, prosperous, and they feel even worse about their lives. They feel that they're not doing well. What's the point of even trying? And the stuckness and feeling lost tends to grow even more. And with that, depression, low self-esteem, anxiety, or even suicidal thoughts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a big thing out there, and I do have clients that face this particular issue, and I, I help them with many techniques, but one of them also is to look at them look at their lives, where you are, appreciate what you have achieved so far.
Yeah.
Each one of us are unique, and every single one of us have got a past, present, and future. So it's waste of time comparing your life to somebody else's. And of course, in the behavioral part of it is to reduce the time on screen and
Mm.
increase mindful
That's
exercises,
so
increase
difficult, isn't it? Yeah.
absolutely, and increase mindful, present connections, being connected with somebody else, activities. It's tricky these days, but it is a must to. We have to. We have to practice more being present.
Well, we're all guilty, aren't we? Because it's so addictive, like you say. You could spend hours. I mean, I know when I'm on Instagram, I could spend hours and not even realize. you know, just scrolling, going from one to another. And it's quite tough, I think, to put that phone down.
It is quite tough. I think I have noticed myself doing that. I actually have noticed myself replacing reading books to be on the phone, which is sad. But luckily, I caught myself and I catch myself, and I go, okay, enough, too much. Let's do something that's more that sort of exercise more your brain, Sandra. Come on, let's do it because it is this
Yeah,
connection, right? It's just staring at it.
I
Yeah.
know. Well, what would you say then is a healthy balance?
I would say that it's good that I was thinking about this because I also don't want to completely ban it and completely paint it as the devil because I was just thinking about how I use it. And sometimes I want my brain to absolutely disconnect from everything because I use it so much. So on Friday night, I am cooked. My brain is ready to go on break. And I use social media to see some stuff that I'm interested about to disconnect.
Yeah.
So it can be useful. And I would say I think there is a recommendation for 2 hours total per day. I'm not too sure about it, but I think that would be something I would go by. You know, if but that's the accumulative of everything, 2 hours per day. So it's 2 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes here.
Yeah.
You know, I would say don't be on it for more than 30 minutes at a time. That's too much. That's binging,
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely. I think wise words, Sandra. Okay, so on to our next question, which is someone said that I really struggle in social settings. What's wrong with me and what can I do about it? And that's a
Oh,
toughie, isn't it? That's a
oh,
toughie.
bless them. Yeah, it's a tough one. And it's a big question. It's a big question. And as a therapist that I am, I've got to sort of um, just say that each case is a case and each person is a person and your reason might be different than my reason. But but there's something coming to mind that I could explore with you, Sonia, which is personality traits.
Right.
And for example, if you are an
Mhm.
extrovert and an introvert, you will experience social setting differently.
Yeah.
And just to illustrate it, I will bring a case, and I will call them. I will call them this case, this person in the case, John.
Mhm.
So John has got a girlfriend, and he is an introvert, but he didn't know that, and she's an
Right.
extrovert. She really nurtures herself and through being with other people. She loves being with other people. She could be for a long period of time. Where John, before he goes out, he's anxious. When he gets to the party, he's anxious. When he's with people, he's anxious, and he can't wait to leave.
Mm.
And that's majorly the difference between an introvert and extrovert. But then the thing is, sometimes as an introvert, you still have to go out and socialize with people. So what do you do, right? And that was the case with John. He has to go out with. It would be good that he goes out with his girlfriend, but when he gets to the parties or whatever the social encounter is, he feels according to him, after 2 hours being there, he's drained and anxiety is taking over.
Mhm.
He can't wait to come home, but he doesn't want to say it to anybody else because he doesn't want to be labeled or be seen in a particular way. And that's the terrible thing about being an introvert, is that normally you can be a target for people to find you awkward, um, say things that like you love social isolating. Some people take it lightly, and it's really a painful experience when
Of course.
you you're pushing yourself to be and to do something that you don't want to.
Mm.
So if that's the case, for this person that asked the question, if you are an introvert and you find yourself feeling anxious in social situations because it's too overwhelming for you, so I would say track yourself in terms of get to know more yourself in terms of mapping yourself. So see how you feel before you have to go to a social encounter,
Right.
to a social, event.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get there, pay attention and how are you feeling? Are you nervous? Are you concerned about what you're going to talk about, what you're not going to talk about, what people will think about you?
Yeah.
And how long do you feel that you can manage the stress and the feeling nervous or whatever are the feelings that come up? Because then you can, in that process, you learn how much you can take, how much you can give. You paying attention to your needs and you attending your needs. And hopefully you learn to communicate to your partner, to your friends, or whoever you're with.
Mm.
Um,
It's about setting boundaries, isn't it, for yourself? Knowing your
right.
limit. Mm.
Yeah, right. So that would, and I think further down would be self-regulations, how to self-regulate and how to ground yourself when you feel it's becoming too much, but you still have to stay because it's a work function or something like that. Yeah, I will stop here, otherwise it's gonna get long.
I know, well, it's very intimidating, isn't it? Even just making the first bit of conversation with someone, if you go
Oh,
to a work do or
absolutely.
anything, it's very, very intimidating, I think, isn't it?
Mm.
Okay, so we'll move on to similar kind of topic actually. I would like to improve my relationships, but I find it really hard to speak my mind. Similar.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I
How
would
can
like.
you?
What? How can you? Yeah. Um. Well, I would like to believe that the person that asked this question and the relationship that this person is referring to, um, in this relationship, that person feels safe and secure to speak your
Mm.
mind. I think that's the beginning of all. Um, because one of the things that I find as a theme, when somebody doesn't communicate that true selves or their mind to the other person, it's
Yeah.
normally because they're afraid of being rejected or even being abandoned.
Mm.
So if I really tell them how I feel about this, then they don't want to be with me anymore. They will think that I'm too vulnerable or I'm too picky or whatever the labels are,
Yeah.
right? So the problem with that, when you're afraid of rejection, abandonment, being ostracized, being ridiculed, being shamed,
Hmm.
is that the more you abandon and neglect your true mind, your true self, to then attend somebody else's want and need. So you mask, you people please. Um, the more you do these things, the more your self-esteem will lower. And the more you will feel the first thing that you feel, which is inadequate, unlovable, unwanted, unwelcomed.
Mm.
um and it's the perfect story about, I'm remembering something that my another client told me, that he's the clown of the group. And I was very, very interested. I was like, what do you mean being a clown? Well, I'm in the entertainment. And I asked this person, how would it be for you not to be the entertainment? Oh no, why no? So then what would I do? And
It's
I
their
said, you
role,
would,
isn't it? They found that role for themselves to fit in.
right. You
Yeah.
can just be and be appreciated for who you are, right? And it's all very tricky because I know, um, I mean, I work in the mental health field and I see the resistance for emotional intelligence to engage in activities or therapy or whatever it is the means to get you to explore your emotions. I understand and I empathize with the resistance, but the thing is, the more you live a life that you don't really feel that rings to your true self,
Yes.
the more you feel unfulfilled and not completely happy.
Yeah. And that affects everything, doesn't it? I mean, that
Right.
affects work, it affects friendships, it affects everything in your life. The self-esteem, the confidence, the self-value.
Absolutely, absolutely affects everything, even workplace,
Yeah. I have actually
everything.
got a question about that actually here,
All
about how
right.
can I set boundaries? How can I set boundaries in the workplace?
Yeah. Again, that's a big one. And I've been trying to push the agenda of bringing to the corporate world, psychological safety,
Interesting.
psychological safety programs, because I see, of course, I see individual clients, but they bring their stories from work, right? And sometimes I wonder, right, so what you're telling me here right now, if you could share this with your boss, with your manager, or with your colleague, feeling welcomed, understood, and safe, would your stress being built to this side,
Hmm.
would you be anxious about going to work every Monday or every day?
Yeah.
Or would you be looking forward to leave work as soon as possible? Or even would you be bringing stress from work home? Because there's a lot of that happening.
Mm.
Families are suffering, the family structure are suffering from the stress that the parents or the spouse brings from work. So um, I I would like to think that this person works in an environment where speak up is encouraged, where safety for communication, openness, and vulnerability is encouraged. But if it isn't, then I would definitely encourage this person to be honest herself with whoever he or they want to put the boundary with. And I think one of the best techniques for to engage in difficult conversations is for you to speak from your experience and not saying that is because the person did what they did to
Right.
you. That can come in the process of the conversation. But when you come in, hopefully feeling calm, feeling grounded, and then focus on speaking from your true self, from your experience, hopefully that will set a knock-on effect on the person that you're talking to, and that person will be welcoming your feedback and will be encouraged to also open up and be vulnerable and speak what's going on for them. And in that conversation, they can set boundaries for each other in a caring and nurturing way.
Mm. It requires a lot of courage, doesn't it? It requires
Mm.
courage on the part of the person needing to be heard,
Mm.
and it requires good listening skills on the
Absolutely.
on the part
Good.
of the other. Well, on part of both, really,
Oh
because
yeah,
it's a partnership, isn't it?
it is. It is. And good listening skills. Absolutely. The the issue with the listening skills is that it links to what I just said at the beginning. When you come into a conversation
Mm.
in a workplace or any conversation for that matter, and you come in pointing fingers, you put that person's back up already, and the listening is out of the window because you're prepared to protect yourself, to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Because it brings shame, doesn't it? When you've been, being pointed a finger at you, the first thing that comes up is embarrassment, is shame.
Defense, anger.
Absolutely. So the listening ears they're gone. They're gone. So the best technique would always be, can I share with you how I felt when you said what you said in that meeting? And then you can speak from your person.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
it's how you approach it.
It's how you approach it. Yeah. Because empathy is always a diffuser for conflict.
Right.
Because when you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, because they're sharing with me how they felt, how I made them feel, or how they felt because I said or did something, hopefully I will feel, oh, all right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean you to feel that way. So the empathy kicks in.
Yes, because it's easy to cross wires, isn't
Right.
it? It's easy to get confused in the communication.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So simple words, plain words, and being calm and just speaking from your vulnerable self. So obviously that I know that that person themselves, they have to have some sort of emotional intelligence and emotional self support to be able to come in and speak out and say, I felt embarrassed and I felt belittled with the comment you made, da 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 da.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, the workplace is a very difficult place to practice all of those skills. It's something that we really need to keep doing,
Well,
isn't it, on a
yeah,
daily basis? Yeah.
yeah. And that's why I think the workplace would benefit a lot from encouraging programs where this type of conversations are encouraged. And I think there was a project developed by Google in 2012, which is called psychological safety, and they wanted to measure what was the best way of getting out of people the best performance, the best group sort of modeling, and the number one trait that they found that the company could have to have this cohesiveness, yeah, is to allow them to feel safe, psychologically safe,
Right.
emotionally safe, to share their feedback to one another,
Yep.
to share ideas, to be creative. So there is no doubt to me that companies today would benefit from it. And I think there's a lot of workplace that are implementing already the psychological safety programs, well-being. I think they call well-being programs. Mm,
Seems valuable, doesn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
sounds absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Highly
Yeah,
needed.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Sandra, can you believe it? We've come nearly to the end of our
Gosh, that was
session
so fast.
already. Can you believe that?
That really, really, really fast.
So, if anyone wanted to find you, how would they find you?
I think they can. I think I'm the person who develops my own stuff, and I don't know. But I think if you go on my Instagram, there is my website. I think my contact number. So from this very platform, they can find anything about me and where to find me.
Wonderful.
And how
So,
about you, Sonia? I feel like I want to ask you to. So, I actually want to ask what you up to. What's your project? What are you working on?
what am I working on? Oh my goodness, so many little things. I'm working on series 2 of my podcast Unseen. I'm working on some articles, newspaper articles that I'm going to be writing soon on for teenagers, actually, sort of stress for teenagers and some mental health tips and life choices for
Well
teenagers.
done.
So it will be mainly focused around Charles because intergenerational trauma is my passion. So that's
Thank
where
you.
I'll be heading to next.
I
So let's
love
see.
that.
Watch this space.
Love it, and thank you, Sonia, because okay, speaking from the mental health world, we need you. We need your voice. We need your presence.
Mm, thank you, Sandra. I think what you do is so fantastic. I mean,
Thank you.
you're out here, you're supporting people, you're doing wonderful work. So thank you for that. And
Thank
hopefully
you.
we'll do another one soon.
Hopefully, hopefully. Thank you very much for doing this one with me.
It's a
Thank you.
pleasure. It's a pleasure. I hope everyone has found this very useful and watch this space. We might do another one soon. Have a good Saturday, everyone.
Bye bye,
Have a
everyone.
good time. Have a good weekend,
You
Sandra.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.